The wreckage and the child, the stars were quiet that night. Captain Ray Carter sat in the cockpit of his old cargo ship, the Horizon, staring out into the darkness of space. His crew was tired. They had been flying for 6 days straight, looking for lost ships or broken stations to salvage. Business was slow. Fuel was low. Morale was even lower. Then the distress signal came. "Unknown source," said Mia, the ship's AI. "Signal type, alien, very old." Ray straightened in his seat. "Alien?" He repeated. "Yes, signal repeating every 43 seconds. Likely automated." Ray leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Plot a course. Let's check it out." 30 minutes later, the Horizon dropped out of hyperspace. In front of them floated a destroyed alien vessel. Its metal hull was twisted and burned, spinning slowly near a dead asteroid belt. "Looks like it's been here for years," said Jax, the engineer. "No life signs." Mia added. "Still," Ray said, standing up. "Let's go see." The air inside the alien ship was cold and stale. The walls were covered in strange symbols. Burn marks and blast holes told the story. This ship had been attacked. Ray and Jax moved carefully, their boots clanking on the metal floor. They passed empty rooms, broken panels, shattered glass. Then they found it. A small room sealed with thick doors. "Mia, open it," Ray said. The doors hissed open slowly, revealing something unexpected. A cryo-pod. Inside it, a small alien child lay asleep, her skin a soft bluish purple. Her arms wrapped around a glowing cube. Ray froze. "A child?" "She's alive," Jax whispered, scanning her. "Heartbeat. Brain activity. She's been in stasis for at least 10 years. 10 years? Ray said, shocked. "Who left her here?" Jax asked. "And why?" Ray didn't answer. He stared at the child. Something in his chest tightened. "She's alone," Ray said softly. "Just a kid. What do we do?" Jax asked. Ray didn't speak. He just reached out and gently touched the cryopod's glass. The child's eyes fluttered open. Back on the Horizon, the child sat quietly in the medbay. She said nothing. Her large golden eyes looked around, afraid. She didn't understand their language. She didn't understand where she was. Ray tried to offer her food. She didn't eat. He tried to ask her name. She didn't answer. She only held onto that glowing cube tightly, as if it were her last piece of home. "She's scared," Ray said. "She needs a real doctor," said Mia, "and a translator." "We'll take her to Station 12, Jax said. "Drop her off with the authorities." Ray looked at the girl. She looked so small, so lost. He couldn't stop thinking about how she must have felt, alone in space. Asleep for 10 years, her family likely gone. "No," Ray said. "We're not leaving her." Jax raised an eyebrow. "You're serious?" "She stays with us," Ray said firmly. "At least until we figure out what happened to her ship. Until then, I'll take care of her." Days passed. The child didn't speak. But she began to trust Ray. He gave her a small necklace, a star-shaped charm from Earth. She smiled for the first time. She started watching him fix things, following him around the ship. She even copied his hand movements when he worked with tools. Ray called her Lena. One night, she pointed at herself and whispered, "Lena." It was the first word she ever spoke. Ray smiled. Good girl. He didn't know why, but he felt something growing in his heart. Not just pity. Not just duty. Love. Far away, in the darkness of space, a red signal blinked on a damaged satellite. Deep underground on a forgotten moon, a receiver lit up. An alien warrior opened her eyes. She had received the signal. Her child was alive, and someone had taken her. Raising an alien. The ship had changed. Since the day Lena came aboard the Horizon, silence was replaced with small footsteps and curious eyes. Captain Ray Carter never thought he'd be raising a child again. And never like this. Lena was not human. but she was very much alive. And she was learning. Each morning, Lena would sit near the engine room, watching Ray fix broken wires. She didn't speak much. Just stared, observed. Then, one day, she picked up a tool. "No," Ray said gently. "Too sharp." Lena looked at him, confused. Ray smiled and handed her a safe tool. She grinned, a wide, sharp-toothed smile, and sat beside him. From that day, they worked side by side. She learned faster than any child Ray had ever seen. Within weeks, she understood English. At least the simple words. "Wrench," she said, handing him the right one. "Good," Ray said, shocked. "Where'd you learn that?" Lena tapped her head and grinned. "Smart," Ray laughed. "Yeah, you are." But not everything was easy. She had nightmares. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, she would scream. Loud, painful screams that echoed through the metal walls. Ray would rush to her room. She'd be curled in a corner, eyes wide, trembling. He'd sit beside her, saying nothing, just offering his hand. One night, she finally whispered, "Fire, boom, Mama gone." Ray's heart sank. She remembered the attack. Jax, the engineer, didn't trust her. "She's alien." "Ray," he said one day, "we don't know what she is, or what she can do." "She's a child," Ray said, "not a weapon." "Children grow," Jax replied. "And we still don't know who left her in that pod." Ray walked away, but he couldn't ignore the question in his own mind. Why was she alone? And who was she running from? One evening, as Ray cleaned old data logs, Mia, the ship's AI, gave a quiet alert. "Captain, we are being followed." Ray froze. By who? Unidentified vessel, no known ID, stealth mode. "It's been tracking our jumps for the last 48 hours. Ray stood slowly. "Do they know about Lena?" "Unknown," Mia replied. "But they're not broadcasting peace." Ray looked at the sleeping girl on the screen, curled up in a blanket, holding that glowing cube close to her chest. She looked peaceful, but trouble was getting closer. The next day, Ray changed their course. He told the crew it was a fuel stop. But at Wuesen single quotes T. He was running. He didn't want Lena to be taken. Later, Lena sat with him on the bridge. "Why scared?" she asked. Ray looked at her, surprised. "I'm not scared," he said. She tilted her head. "You lie." Ray smiled. "Okay. A little scared." Lena stood and placed the glowing cube in his hand. "Home," she whispered. Ray stared at the cube. It was warm, pulsing gently. Alive almost. "What is this, Lena?" he asked. She didn't answer, just pointed to the stars. That night, the ship shook. An unknown transmission came through. One voice. Deep, strange, angry. "You have my daughter." Ray's blood turned cold. Jax ran into the room. "Did you hear that? Who the hell was that?" Ray couldn't speak. He looked at the glowing cube in his hand. It was turning red. And blinking. Again and again. A message was being sent. Somewhere. Far across the galaxy, in a hidden chamber deep below an icy moon, a warrior stood before a screen. Her skin was bluish purple, her eyes golden. Her armor cracked and burned. She stared at the signal. Her daughter was alive, and a human had her. She clenched her fists and whispered in her native tongue, "If you took her, you take me too." She stepped into a teleport pod. Back on the horizon, Ray held Lena close. She didn't understand what was happening, but she felt the tension. "I've got you," he said. "No one's taking you." But somewhere, in his mind, a fear was growing. Who was that voice? And worse, what if Lena wasn't meant to survive, but escape? The stranger arrives. The ship felt colder than usual. Captain Ray Carter stood alone in the control room of the horizon, watching the stars slide past the window. But tonight, something was wrong. The air was too still. The silence was too deep. Then Mia, the ship's AI, broke the quiet. "Captain, unknown energy spike." Deck 3. It wasn't there 5 seconds ago. Ray turned sharply. Teleport? Possibly. Origin? Unknown. Before he could react, the alarms blared. Ray grabbed his pulse pistol and ran down the corridor. His boots echoed against the floor as he reached Deck 3. The hallway was dark, and in the middle of it stood someone. A tall figure, female, with scarred armor and glowing golden eyes. She was not human. She wasn't afraid either. Ray raised his weapon. Who are you? How did you get on my ship? The figure didn't flinch. Her voice was calm, but powerful. You have my daughter. Ray's eyes narrowed. What did you say? I received the signal, she said. The beacon from the cryopod. It was hers. Ray's mind raced. Was this the voice from the strange transmission? She's sleeping, Ray said cautiously. She's safe. But if you're here to take her, I am not here to ask. Ray stepped forward, gun still raised. I don't know who you are, lady, but I've raised that girl for 2 years. She calls me Dad. The alien woman stared at him. Her voice cracked slightly. I am her mother. In the med bay, Lena opened her eyes. She felt something. She got up quietly, still holding her glowing cube, and walked toward the hallway. Her small feet padded along the floor, silent. She saw the tall figure. Her eyes widened. Mama? She whispered. The woman turned. Her face softened. She dropped to her knees and opened her arms. Lena. The girl didn't move. She looked at Ray, then back at the stranger. Then she slowly walked forward and hugged her. Tears streamed down the alien woman's face. For the first time in years, she held her daughter. Ray lowered his weapon. Confused and shaken. He had always wondered where Lena came from, who she truly was. Now the answer stood in front of him, but something didn't feel right. Where have you been? He asked. Why now? The woman stood. I am Zora, former commander of the Kalari resistance. Ray frowned. He had heard the name before. A warrior, a fugitive, a ghost. They said you were dead. I was almost, Zora said. We were ambushed. I hid my daughter in the cryopod and launched her away before the enemy could find her. Why didn't you go with her? Ray asked. Zora's voice lowered. Because I had to stay behind and kill them. Lena clung to her mother's hand. She didn't understand everything they said, but she felt the weight in their voices. Ray looked at the girl, then back at Zora. She thinks I'm her family now. Zora nodded. You raised her. You protected her. For that, I owe you. Ray relaxed a little. So what now? You take her and leave? Zora looked at him with sharp, steady eyes. No, she said. You adopted my daughter. Now, you must take me too. Ray blinked. Excuse me? You think my enemies are gone? She said. They're hunting me. And now they've found her again. She stepped closer, her voice low. If I leave alone, they'll come back. They'll never stop. Ray looked at Lena, holding both of their hands now. Zora said, if you want to protect her, you protect both of us. Later, in the control room, Jax whispered, you let her stay? She's Zora the Destroyer. She has a kill record that spans star systems. She's Lena's mother, Ray said. And she saved my life when I tried to stop her. She broke in, threatened us. She could have killed me, Jax, but she didn't. Ray stared at the stars outside. She gave up everything to protect that kid. Same as I did. Jax shook his head. You're trusting a war criminal. Ray sighed. I'm trusting a mother. Meanwhile, down in her room, Lena looked up at Zora. You stay? She asked. Zora nodded. Lena smiled and reached for the star-shaped necklace Ray gave her. Then she took Zora's hand and placed it in hers. Family, she said. Zora, the feared warrior, couldn't hold back her tears. She had crossed galaxies, killed enemies, and escaped death. But this was the moment she had fought for. Her daughter. Alive. Safe. And somehow Loved by a human. Far across the galaxy, in the shadows of a black planet, a dark fleet moved silently. Inside the lead ship, a red-eyed commander studied the signal. "She has returned," he said, "and the child is no longer alone." He smiled coldly. "Let them run." Enemies in shadow. Silence was no longer safe. Ever since Zora arrived on the horizon, the crew felt it, the tension, like a storm waiting to hit. Even the air smelled different. Burnt metal, cold systems. Watching eyes, Captain Ray Carter didn't sleep much anymore. Neither did Lena. And somewhere, something was coming. 3 ships behind us, Mia reported. "They're cloaked, but their heat signatures are unusual," Ray frowned. "How long have they been following?" "Too long," she replied. Jax cursed under his breath. "It's her, isn't it, Zora?" Ray turned. "We don't know that." Zora entered the room just then, silent and still. "Yes," she said simply. "They found me." She sat at the table, removing part of her cracked armor. Underneath was a scar that stretched across her shoulder. "A story with no words. They're called the Velari Hunters," she said. "Mercenaries, paid by those who want me dead." "Why?" Ray asked. Zora didn't blink. "Because I didn't die." Ray leaned forward. "You need to tell me the truth now, all of it." Zora looked at Lena, who sat quietly on the floor drawing pictures on a datapad. Then she spoke. "I was a commander during the Kalari Civil War," she began. "We were fighting a corrupt empire. I believed in freedom. I believed in justice. But war changes people. We won, but at a cost. I lost my unit, my name. They called me a terrorist. I called myself a mother." She looked down. "When I found out I was pregnant, I ran. I escaped the fire. I stole a ship, created the cryopod, and hid my daughter away. I stayed to fight." Ray stayed silent for a long moment. "And you survived?" Zora nodded. "Barely," Ray exhaled. "Now they want to finish the job." Zora's eyes burned. "Yes, and they will kill anyone in their way, including you." Later that night, the ship's lights flickered. Mia's voice came through. "Every speaker. They've boarded." Red lights flashed. The hallway doors locked. Ray grabbed his weapon. Zora was already gone. She moved like a shadow. Jax tried to seal the engine room, but it was too late. The first bounty hunter, tall, armored, with a laser spear, burst in. Lena screamed. Ray pulled her behind a crate. Blaster fire filled the room. Sparks flew. Metal burned. Zora appeared out of nowhere, her blades slicing through the air like lightning. She moved like someone who had fought death before. And one bounty hunter fell, then another, but a third caught Lena. He held a knife to her throat. One move and she dies. Ray froze. Zora froze. Lena didn't. She whispered something in her alien tongue. The glowing cube on her necklace pulsed once, then released a shockwave. The hunter flew backward, unconscious. Ray grabbed her. "How did you?" Zora stared at the cube, eyes wide. It responded to her. Ray looked at her. "What is that thing?" Zora answered softly. "It's not a toy. It's part of our bloodline." The remaining hunters retreated. Their leader sent one final message through the comms. "This isn't over. She belongs to us." Then silence. After the battle, the crew sat in the med-bay. Lena slept beside Ray, holding the cube close. Zora leaned against the wall, her wounds glowing faintly. "You still want me gone?" she asked quietly. Ray shook his head. "No, you saved her," he said. "Again." "She saved us," Zora replied. Ray looked at her. "They're not stopping. You said Lena is part of your bloodline. What does that mean?" Zora hesitated. "There's more I haven't told you." Ray stood. "Then tell me everything." Zora met his eyes. "Lena is more than a child," she said. "She's a key." "A key to what?" Ray asked. Zora answered. "To peace or to war. Far away, in the heart of a dark citadel, the red-eyed commander watched the failed mission report. She used the cube, he said. It activated. Room was quiet, he smiled. Then the bloodline is still alive. He turned to his soldiers. Begin phase 2. The choice Lena stood between two worlds. One hand held her glowing cube, ancient, alive, humming softly. The other hand was empty. Unsure who it should reach for. Captain Ray stood on one side, the only father she had ever known. Zora stood on the other, the mother who had returned from the ashes of war. And somewhere deep inside her, a storm was building. After the bounty hunter attack, the ship remained quiet. Too quiet. Jox was fixing broken panels. Mia was scanning for more threats, but Ray couldn't stop thinking. Zora's words echoed in his head. She's more than a child. She's a key. But a key to what? Ray needed answers. In the dark of the observation deck, he found Zora staring into space. Talk, he said. Zora didn't turn around. She was never supposed to be found. Ray stepped closer. What is she really? Zora spoke slowly. Kalari children are born with one of two gifts, fire or mind. But Lena, she has both. That's impossible, until now. She's a hybrid? She's a miracle. Zora finally turned. She has the ability to activate the Veil Core, a lost energy source that can rebuild or destroy worlds. Ray went silent. Zora stepped closer. If the Empire finds her, they will use her to destroy planets that resist. She'll be a weapon. Ray clenched his fists. And what were you going to do with her? Zora looked away. That's what I'm afraid of, Ray whispered. Lena heard them. She wasn't supposed to. But she did. She stood outside the door, cube glowing faintly in her palm. Weapon. Key. Power. Too many big words. But one thing she understood clearly. They were both scared of her. Later, in the common room, Ray tried to talk to Lena. She sat quietly, her back to him, legs crossed. I heard you talk to Mia today, he said gently. Lena nodded. She said I'm dangerous, Ray blinked. She didn't mean. It's okay, Lena interrupted. Maybe I am. No, Ray said firmly, sitting beside her. You're not a danger. You're a girl with a big heart. You help. You protect. She looked at him. But Mama says I'm not normal. Ray took her hand. I raised you to be kind, not normal. Lena looked into his eyes. If you had to choose me or safety, what would you pick? Ray didn't blink. I'd choose you. Every time. Zora walked in. We need to move. I found a shortcut through the nebula drift. Ray stood. You're deciding now? Alone? We don't have time for a vote, Zora said sharply. We're not an army, Zora. We're a crew. A family. Zora looked at Lena, then let the girl decide. Ray stared. What? She must choose, Zora said. If she comes with me, I'll teach her to control the power. To survive. If she stays with you, she'll live a quiet life. Maybe a short one. Lena stood up slowly. Her voice was soft. You want me to choose? Yes, Zora said. You or him? Lena asked. Zora nodded. Ray said nothing. His heart was pounding. Lena stepped forward. She looked at Ray, the man who taught her to fix wires, make jokes, and say please. She looked at Zora, the warrior, with her eyes, her blood and her past. She closed her eyes. Then she opened them. I choose both. Zora's face changed. That's not possible. Yes, it is, Lena said. I won't be torn in half. I'm not a weapon. I'm not a tool. I'm me. Ray stepped forward. We protect her together, or we fail her separately. Zora looked at both of them. And for the first time, she smiled, a real, tired, honest smile. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Mia's voice cracked through the intercom. Incoming projectile. Impact in 10 seconds. Ray grabbed the controls. Brace! Boom! The ship rocked. Panels burst. Alarms screamed. Mia shouted. A tracker missile hit us. Not meant to kill, meant to mark. Zora's eyes narrowed. They know exactly where we are now. Ray turned to her. Then we run. Zora shook her head. No, we fight. In the distance, 3 warships lit up their engines. On the bridge of the lead vessel, the red-eyed commander smiled as Lena's signal glowed on the screen. Good girl, he whispered. Run if you must. We're already inside the game. He raised his hand. Deploy the hunt. The hidden memory, the ship floated through the nebula drift, glowing clouds curling around it, like ghosts inside the horizon. No one was speaking, not because they had nothing to say, but because some truths are heavier than silence. Captain. Ray Carter sat in his private quarters, holding a small crystal in his hand, faintly glowing blue. It was smooth, warm, and pulsing softly, like a slow heartbeat. Zora had given it to him. She called it a memory shard. And she told him, this will show you everything. He placed it into the reader, a soft hum, a flicker. Then light filled the room. It was a memory, old, raw, alive. And the first face he saw was his brother. Log entry 47, the man said. Commander Ethan Carter, Earth Science Division. Ray's heart stopped. Ethan. Dead for over a decade. Lost during the Kalari conflict. But here he was, alive in this memory. I made contact with a Kalari defector, Ethan said. Her name is Zora. The memory shimmered. Another face appeared. Zora, younger, bleeding, holding a small glowing cube. She's pregnant, Ethan said, voice shaking. She says her child might be the key. I don't understand it yet, but I believe her. Ray leaned forward. My orders were to turn her in. But I can't, Ethan whispered. I've seen what the Alliance plans to do if they get the child. They'll use her, shape her, break her. I won't let that happen. The memory flickered again. If anything happens to me, Ray, protect her. The shard blinked. Once, then turned dark. Ray sat frozen. His brother had sent Lena to him. This wasn't chance. This was destiny. Zora was waiting outside the door. You saw it, she said softly. Ray nodded. You knew my brother. He saved my life. She replied. He smuggled me across enemy space. Gave me a fake ID. Hid the cryopod. He said, my brother can be trusted. Ray's voice was low. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Because you needed to choose her, not protect her out of duty. He looked away. She was right. He hadn't just protected Lena. He had loved her. Meanwhile, in the engineering bay, Lena sat alone. She was staring at a small metal bird, a toy Ray once made for her. It didn't move anymore. The wing was broken. She tried to fix it. But her hands shook. Her cube pulsed again. She saw flashes, not memories, but visions. A city of glass. A machine tower. Flames, shadows, her own face. Older, colder. She gasped. What's happening to me? She whispered. Zora entered the room quietly. Lena didn't look up. Am I going to become a monster? Zora kneeled beside her. You're not a monster, Lena. You're a mirror. Lena frowned. What does that mean? Zora gently placed her hand on Lena's heart. You reflect the world around you. If they give you love, you'll give it back. If they give you war, Lena whispered, I give war too. Zora nodded sadly. Later, in the strategy room, Ray, Zora, Jax, and Mia gathered. We need a plan, Jax said. The Valari are tracking us. We're outgunned and outnumbered. Zora spoke. There's one place they can't follow. She tapped the star map. The Cradle of Silence, an ancient Kalari vault built inside a dead sun. No signals. No tracking. Only way in is through Lena. Ray narrowed his eyes. Why there? Because the prophecy lives there. Everyone fell silent. Zora continued. Long ago, it was said a child with dual light would rise, a child of two worlds, and awaken the vault. Ray exhaled. You really believe Lena is that child? Zora looked at him. I know she is. As the ship changed course, Lena stood at the window, staring at the stars. She didn't feel like a child anymore. She felt like a storm, not one that destroyed, but one that came after destruction. The kind that brings change. Ray walked up behind her. I saw your dad, he said softly. She turned. You mean your brother? Ray smiled. No, I mean your first dad. My brother, Ethan. Lena blinked. He knew me. He protected you, Ray said. Just like I did. Just like your mom is doing now. Lena looked at him, eyes wide. Then I have 3 parents? Ray laughed. Yeah, I guess you do. She leaned against him. Do you think I'm ready? She asked. Ray looked out into space. I think. You're already becoming something stronger than any of us ever expected. Far away, in the Valari command ship, the red-eyed commander watched their movements. The cradle, he said. She's going to unlock it. A soldier stepped forward. Should we intercept? The commander smiled coldly. No, let her open the door. Then his voice dropped. We'll be waiting inside. Daughter of 2 worlds, the dead sun was silent. No light, no heat. Only an endless black sphere, floating in space like a forgotten god. At its center, the cradle of silence. A Kalari vault, said to hold lost knowledge, forbidden's power, and truths meant to stay buried. The horizon approached slowly. Inside, Lena stood at the ship's front window. She had never seen anything so quiet and so loud. Because deep inside her, something was calling. Pressure dropping, Mia reported. Vault is opening. Only the girl can pass through the outer field. Ray turned to Lena. You don't have to go alone. Zora placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, she does. This is her bloodline's test. Ours would fail it. Ray clenched his fists. She's just a child. No, Zora said softly. She's more than that now. Lena walked alone. Through the bridge between dimensions, a floating corridor made of ancient light. The cube around her neck began to rise, glowing brighter with each step. She didn't cry. She didn't run. She remembered. Ray's laughter, Zora's fire, Ethan's face from the memory shard. She was all of them. But she was also herself. Inside the vault, time felt slower. Massive walls curved upward like a star turned to stone. Symbols moved across the floor like rivers. And in the center, a pedestal. Lena placed her cube on it. The vault woke up. A voice echoed, not male or female. You are the key. You are the balance. Lena's eyes glowed gold and blue, her dual power activating. The ground shook, the cradle rose, opening a beam of pure light that reached into space like a signal flare. Back on the horizon, Ray yelled, "We've been exposed." Dozens of Valari ships dropped out of stealth, surrounding them. They waited for this, Zora shouted. They want what's inside the vault. Ray grabbed his rifle. Then let's make them earn it. The first shot struck. The rear engines, alarms screamed. Hull breach, systems failing. Jocks tried to reroute power. We can't outrun them. Ray looked at Zora. Can we buy her time? Zora gave a small smile. Always. In the vault, Lena raised her hand. The energy from the cube surged into her chest. Visions filled her mind. Cities burning. Planets crying out. A man with red eyes standing over a ruined world, holding the same cube. She gasped. She saw herself, older, colder, leading an army. Was this her future? No. She whispered, I choose my own path. The vault responded. Outside, a blinding pulse shot from the dead sun. Valari ships were pushed back, thrown into chaos. On the horizon, systems lit up. Mia spoke. Energy surge detected. Unknown force field, protecting us. Ray grinned. That's my girl. On the Valari flagship, the red-eyed commander stood at the edge of the bridge. He frowned. She's resisting. He turned to his soldier. Activate the failsafe. The soldier hesitated. But she die. The commander's voice was ice. So will we all, if she doesn't. Back in the vault, Lena fell to her knees. Sharp pain struck her chest. She looked down. The cube was cracking. She heard a voice, her own. From the future. This power was never meant for one. It was meant to be shared. She stood, raised her arms, and whispered, then let them have it all. But not for war. From the vault exploded a ring of light, not fire, not destruction, but memory. Each ship, human and Velari, suddenly received the same vision. The war, the lies, the betrayals, the families lost, the truth of who Lena was, and one final message. We don't have to repeat the past. The Velari ships froze. Their systems glitched, not from hacking, but from doubt. Soldiers hesitated. Commanders questioned orders, for the first time. The war machine paused. Back on the flagship, the red-eyed commander fell to his knees, whispering, what have we done? Lena collapsed. The cube in her hand shattered, dust and starlight. Zora reached her first. She held her close. I'm here, she whispered. You did it. Ray knelt beside them, voice shaking. She saved them all. Mia's voice echoed overhead. The Velari are retreating. Later, as the ship floated quietly, Lena sat between Ray and Zor Ra.J. AX brought her a repaired metal bird. You fixed it, she smiled. Ray nodded. It flies now. She threw it gently. It glided across the room. Zora looked at her daughter. What do you want to do now? Lena thought for a moment. Go somewhere new, Ray laughed. Anywhere in mind? She smiled wide. Everywhere. Far. In the corner of the galaxy, an ancient system blinked awake, triggered by the vault's opening, unknown to all. Someone else had heard the signal, and they were coming. But this time, Lena wouldn't be alone.